Welcome to the Let's Talk BS podcast. I'm Bryan.
And I'm Sofia, and we're coming to you live from the
757.
Good morning, Bryan.
Hey, good morning, Sophia. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good.
That's good. It's Friday. Excited, happy.
Yes, it is. Fridays are always exciting.
Absolutely. Most definitely. I'll probably say Friday's like my second favorite day of the week. You know, Sunday being my first favorite day of the week. Friday is,
Just
I would say...
not the last day.
It's the last
day, but the last favorite day.
Yeah, last business.
Yeah.
Yeah, last business day, you know.
Free day.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
Because Saturday is like the errand day for me. Do a lot of running around, grocery shopping, kids sports, all that stuff. So Sunday is like the day of relaxation. I get to watch sports myself. So
I am sports free right now, so I'm living in heaven right now.
That's good.
Yes.
That's good. Yeah, I'm sports free until next week. I think, my son's basketball starts the first week of January, the 7th, if I'm not mistaken.
Nice.
So it's weird, though. They got games on Sundays this season, so it's kind of a little different.
Where he playing?
It's I-9 Sports.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel like I've heard of that.
Yeah,
is that in Virginia Beach?
Nah, it's where we live, Chesapeake.
Oh, yeah.
It's a league out there. But yeah, he's excited. I'm excited for him because last year was his first year playing basketball.
Mm-hmm.
He played through the Y last year. And this year, this is kind of a step up in level of basketball. He's been practicing hard. I keep talking to him about it. So we've been shooting jump shots, inside the house and outside. So he's
Can he reach the rim?
What do you mean?
The adult, you got a basketball rim outside?
Yeah, like a little, like a little
kid one?
Hoop. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I don't know. My son, he weird, man, because he's tall, but he can't, he can jump, but he's not coordinated enough to know how to, really maximize jump. Like, if he's jumping off the couch or something like that, he can jump high, or if he's just, but when it comes to, jumping and trying to, grab a rebound and dunk, the concept of jumping, bending his knees and really kind of catapulting himself ain't really
That's funny, because my oldest was like that until she started playing volleyball.
Yeah.
And then you know what happened?
What?
She started doing that dumb shit when she running through the house, trying to touch the door things.
Yeah, I did that too. Yeah.
And that actually, believe it or not, it improved her jump because at first she couldn't reach it. Then it got to the point where she could reach it, and then now she kind of can she get good 4 fingers.
That's what's
above
up.
it. So
I used to do that all the time.
Because her vertical was important in volleyball.
Of course, yeah. Has she been? I seen on TV. I don't know. Did she watch volleyball too?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay. Mm-mm. Yeah, I'm about to say I've seen the. It was pretty cool.
I know she does watch soccer.
Okay.
And soccer and some other. I think it's just soccer. That's the one she does watch. She keeps up with that.
Gotcha. I know y'all. I remember you had told me a couple of weeks ago, or maybe it's been a couple of months ago, where y'all went and checked out a volleyball game at Norfolk State.
Mm-hmm. We saw a few. Mm-hmm.
That's good. So they on TV they've been doing the volleyball college playoff championships.
Oh, okay.
It was pretty cool. I seen a couple of the matches. I flipped through the channels and the kids kind of was like, oh, what's that? What's that sport? And Sloan kind of got locked in watching it a little bit too. But it was pretty cool. It was Texas, if I'm not mistaken, University of Texas versus Oklahoma, I think, in the championship, or it was Texas versus somebody.
Nice.
And it was one of the guys I remember growing up watching playing NBA basketball, Jermaine O'Neal. His daughter played for the University of Texas, and Texas they won. They won the volleyball collegiate national championship, and it was pretty cool. He had a good moment. He was hugging his daughter, crying and talking to her and stuff, and it was pretty dope. So I didn't know if I know since your daughter plays volleyball, because it was a big thing on TV or whatever, on ESPN or whatever, for a good week and a half. It was every day there was multiple games.
I don't know. She could watch it. I have no clue. Because when we watch TV together, we usually watching something totally different. I don't watch sports on TV.
Yeah, gotcha.
So, yeah. Even when she watched soccer, I don't know she's watching it until she talks about it.
Gotcha.
So we haven't talked about that.
Gotcha. Yeah, but it was dope. Like I said, I hadn't really watched volleyball on TV. At least I watched the Olympics, how they do the sand volleyball or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I've watched that before, but I haven't really watched collegiate volleyball. Them girls is tall, athletic. It's crazy. I was kind of locked in. They was showing some of the storylines and some of the some of their background and things like that. So it kind of got me hooked, and I was kind of wanting to see who ended up prevailing and winning. So pretty cool.
Yeah, she'll be. I think she asked me because she plays some sport this spring. I can't remember which one, And I told her, as long as the grades are good,
Okay.
she could play.
Okay. Come on, for high school?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah. I can't remember what it was. I don't know if it's tennis or if it's softball. It was something she wanted to play.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, that's fine, but grades got to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've been having trouble with this one teacher at her school, and
it's always that one teacher, man. It's always that one.
Yeah, I had to jump in and talk to her.
Get some act right.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I remember. I had a teacher growing up. I remember in middle school, because your daughter's in high school, so yes, this is before then. But I had a middle school teacher, man. I never forget it, man. My mom got so mad at this lady, Miss Mitchell. I'll even say her name, Miss Mitchell, man. And it was crazy because I was in a core team. I don't know if you're familiar with how that is, but like
a what?
Core team, like in middle school. Was your daughter like in any core teams at all? Where it's like you have a certain class, like each core team has like a certain like basic classes, like so your social studies, your math, your English, and your science. There's like 2 or 3 teachers for those subjects, and so you're a part of a core team, and they'll have like the stars, the discovery.
Oh yeah. Because she was like a navigator or something
there
like
you
that.
Go. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So that's called core teams. Yeah,
okay.
That's your core team. So your core classes, you have the exact same teachers, and the same students have those same classes.
Oh, we didn't do that.
Okay. Yeah. So we had core teams. That's why I was asking if she had that, because I know it's the same area. I didn't know if they still did that or whatever.
They do.
But it was cool. So they had a core team, and I remember this was the beginning of the year, and I guess they had miscalculated the amount of people in the specific core team. And so when it came to like your extra classes, like team living and all that, they had too many people in a specific team living class. So they kind of like, I guess, changed the schedule around like 2 to 3 weeks into the class, because the teacher was like, hey, it's too many people in the classroom. They didn't have enough seats and all that. And it was just kind of, whatever, right? So they changed the, like 2 or 3 weeks into the class, they changed couple of my classes. And so I got into a new class that the class was every week we did like a test or a quiz, right? And there was this notebook that you're supposed to collect. So it's supposed to have all your quizzes in there, all your homework assignments, all your tests. So every time you get something back, you're supposed to have it in there. And then at the end of the semester, or the end of the 9 weeks, you turn that in. And so just by you completing everything, you get like an overall grade on top of like the quizzes and tests throughout the year. Mm-hmm. So when I entered this class 2 to 3 weeks, after the class had already started and they had already taken quizzes and tests and all that, like I didn't know anything about this notebook. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know anything, because obviously that was taught about at the very beginning. So long story short, at the end, I got a D in this class. And mind you, all my classes I had nothing but A's. I think I had maybe like one B or 1 or 2 B's or whatever, but I had a D in this class. And it was like teen live. It was like an extracurricular class. It wasn't like a hard class or nothing like that. And so my mom and my dad was all pissed off, like, hey man, like what's going on? Like, how'd you get a D in this class? I'm like, I went and talked. I was like, it was like, do you know? I was like, no. So I went and talked to the teacher, and the teacher was like, yeah, you didn't have all the assignments in the notebook, in the notebook for the 9 weeks. So that's something that's graded really heavily. And I'm like, well, I didn't know about this notebook. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so my mom was like, all right, I want to talk to the teacher. Mm-hmm. So I remember we had a conference. It was me, the teacher, and my Bob.
Oh, see, at mine, I included the principal. We was all in there.
And my Bob is funny, because anybody knows me and knows my parents, like, it's like yin and yang. My mom is so even keeled. So she's very spiritual, very just like quiet, very just like listens. He doesn't do very, very much talking. My dad is that, military, strict, like disciplinarian. Like, that's how my dad was growing up. So it was funny, man, because we was in this conference, and the teacher, she was a sister too. She was a teacher. She had these long fingernails, and my mom was talking to her, trying to ask questions, trying to gain understanding. And the teacher just kept hitting her fingernails. And this was like when my mom was trying to talk to her, and it was kind of being like disrespectful, like just kind of like, and the teacher was doing it, to mess with my mom or whatever. So my mom snapped on her, yo. I never see my mom snap like that. Well, I have after the fact, but this was later on when I started driving. But my mom snapped on her, yo. It was so funny, man. And then like the teacher didn't like correct the grade or nothing, you know, because the grade was what it was. But like the rest of the school year, this teacher was like so nice to me, like having me like do stuff. Like, I mean, it was just so funny how like that one meeting kind of changed the dynamic of our relationship. But yeah, that's why I said it's always one teacher.
Yes, so, definitely. Because I went in, I emailed her. I tried, and it's always the black teacher because this teacher black too.
Was a sister too for you?
Yes.
Dang.
And so
what they say, be your own people.
Be your own people.
Be your own people, man. Dang.
But I emailed her, you know, because I'm like, my daughter has all A's in every other class except for this one. For this one.
Yeah.
And so I'm at home, like, you know, I'm on her. Because when when your kids get in high school, it's different. Like, when they're little, you're teaching them how to do certain things, but when they get to high school, you kind of switch and you teach them to be independent.
Absolutely.
And so I kept telling my daughter, like, okay, email her. I said, when you dealing with a person that they say one thing to your face, but then they you know, act differently, I was like, you got to get it in writing. Yeah. I was like, make sure you email your teacher, make sure you ask these questions.
We do that ourselves.
Exactly, we do. Yeah, especially when I'm dealing with someone who isn't the most truthful, you know, because people tend to lie to us, right?
For sure.
So, emailed the teacher. She had got like a 40 or a 50 on a test. That's what it was. So I was like, well, then ask her, can you retake it? Like, to give you the opportunity to retake this test, right? So she was like, okay. She emailed the teacher and was like, can I take the test? The teacher responded and said yes. And the reason why we had originally asked for her to be able to take this test was because Amaya was playing volleyball. This was during volleyball season. And her and two girls collided. And when they collided, they both fell. But Amaya, she fell face first into the gym floor and broke her tooth, like completely off, right? And so we were in process of like going to the dentist, her missing days, and you know how that transition is. Like, we're trying to get this tooth together. So she missed a few, some days or whatever. So I was like, well, at that time when you took the test, she just took it to take it at that point, right? So I was like, well, why don't you just ask her to retake it to give you, another opportunity to get a better grade?
Yeah.
Teacher responded to the email, was like, yes. So it just so happened to be a day that the day she told her she could retake the test was the same day that we had to go to the dentist. So I was like, well, then just ask her if you could take it on Monday. So my daughter got to school. Teacher didn't give her leniency on the classwork. She was like, well, when you finish up your classwork, then you can start retaking the test. So that Monday, she finished up her classwork. She started to retake the test, but she didn't have enough time to do everything. So she was supposed to finish the test the next day. Teacher came back and was like, oh, well, I didn't realize that you already took the test. So I can't allow you to take it. I would have to let everybody retake the test. And I was like, hold on, wait, did you show her the email that she responded to? Because I was like, Maya, how did you word this email? So I looked at it. She asked, could she retake? So obviously, if you say retake, that means that you have taken it before, right?
That's a fact. Yeah. That's a fact.
And so she basically lied and was like, I can't let you take the test. So I let that go. I said, okay, well, we can do about that, right? Moving forward, I had gotten some assignments back, and I'm looking through her assignments, and on the paper, it would say, let's say, you're looking at 40 questions, right? And let's say she'll mark like how much that question was worth, right? And let's say she took off 6 points for this, and then 2 points for something else, and then 3 points for something else, right? Her points that she was taking off didn't match the overall grade that was on the paper. And that was when I lost my shit. I was like, oh, yeah, no. We finna go to speak to her, the principal, whoever else wants to join this meeting. I don't care. So we get there. She explains, her process and things like that. And so we got to talking about the testing. And I was like, well, she's doing her work. She's passing her work. She's doing well on, there was something else. It's not, she don't call it a quiz. She called it something else. And she was getting A's on all of that, but she was not doing well on the test. And I was like, well, I said, I know that sometimes when you take a test, right? You have some teachers, they will give you a lecture, right, in person, and that will give you a roundabout like estimate as to what they were what the subject is about, right? But it's the responsibility of the child to go and review either the notes or the textbook or wherever she's getting the test from, right? But of course, she's a freshman, right? So she doesn't really quite understand that dynamic because she's coming from middle school where, hey, this is the material that we finna, take a test on. So this is what you study. She didn't understand that, like, you could actually have a lecture. She could talk about it in class, but then she can get her test from a totally different place because she gives you like a whole list.
Broad,
a broad, thing, different things to study from.
Yeah.
So when we got in the meeting, I was like, okay, well, how is this test? Like, can we get a copy of the test? Can we see the test? She don't even give a copy of the test to the students after the test is done, for them to see where they went wrong, where they could have done better. I was like, I'm pretty sure there's some type of accumulative test at the end of the school year. Like, how are they supposed to pass this test at the end of the school year when they don't even know what they did wrong on the current test?
Yeah, that's a good point.
They
should. I mean, that's crazy that they don't like.
She does not get. She gives the Scantron back, but she doesn't give the actual question.
So you don't even know like what the real answer was, right?
No,
that's crazy.
You don't. You don't have a clue.
Yeah. That's
so
crazy.
Then, resolution was that she was going to send the test home to me, and then I would review it with her since she wasn't doing any review whatsoever, right?
Oh, so she put the onus still on you to
That's
do it.
That's okay.
Yeah,
I'll take that, right?
Yeah.
That's fine. If I got to block out time to review the test for her to get the grade better for this semester, cool. I'll do what I have to do. We're going to figure it out some way.
Yeah.
But then the heifer didn't even send the test home.
Oh, she didn't even do that?
No.
Oh, wow. Damn.
So then I was like, all right, what can I do next? So I looked up, we figured out that there was a tutor that Amaya could go to on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I was like, okay, well, if you don't feel comfortable giving me the test, give it to the tutor at the school. Yeah. It's someone who's in this program because she's in a special program for high school. Yeah. I was like, it's another teacher. It's your partner that's in your special program, not associated with the rest of the school, but this particular program. I was like, you give it to her, and then she can review it with her. Nothing. Still ain't did it yet. Yeah. So that's it's still ongoing. Now, I'm going to follow up the rest of the story, once we get there.
Happens, That's crazy.
But
you would think, you would think that when you take a test that, there's a review part, right?
Absolutely.
So you can understand what you went wrong.
Absolutely.
Like that, I feel like that's just like
standard.
Common. Yeah. I'm surprised that she doesn't do that, know? Now, I'll say, I know in college, that's kind of how it is. I know when I was in college, there really wasn't a review for real. But college is college versus high school, and it's two different things.
Right.
But they did allow you to.
In high school, there should be stepping stones, right?
I agree. I agree with what you're saying. I'm just thinking like, just my experiences, like when it was done that way. It definitely wasn't done in high school like that. It was high school. We always reviewed what the test. Like, it was just a big thing. Like, we would sit we would take the test, and then the next time we had class, they would give us. I
feel like back. Even in college, you got your test back.
Yeah, we got our test back. But as far as like going over it in class,
no. Yeah, that part. Yeah. See, I only said to review it in class because she wasn't giving the test back.
Gotcha. I see.
So it was kind of like the alternative to, if you don't want to divvy up the test for these students to be able to see where they got wrong, because they could read and write, right? They're in high school. Yeah. If you give the person the test back, it's their responsibility to go through it and see where they could have. And if they have questions, you come to your teacher and be like, hey, well, I looked, I tried to find the answer to this. I couldn't find it. What is it, right? Yeah. But if you're not giving anything for them to go by, then at minimum, at least review the test while they're in class.
Yeah. I feel you on that.
Yeah. And so then she tried to, say.
So you said when y'all met, this was in front of, it wasn't, because I know when I spoke just a second ago, as far as when I had my experience like that, it was me, my mother.
Oh, yeah. I involved the principal.
So, like, what were they saying? Did they say anything at all while the conversation is?
The principal pretty much agreed. I mean, I ain't going to say, I'm not going to say the principal agreed with me because he didn't say, I agree with you, Sophia.
Yeah.
But you know how when you're having a conversation and you try to be the unbiased person, right?
Yeah.
You try your best to be. But when you even need clarification as to why things are done a certain way, and you are pretty much reiterating one of the person's sides, it can come off as you don't understand that either.
Yeah.
And you trying to get clarification and
That's
you don't quite agree with, because when I brought up the fact that she didn't do review, he was like, you don't review the test with the students in the class? Like stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
And it wasn't like he didn't agree with me, but it made it seem like, what? Like, I can't believe that you are,
Yeah, for sure.
But she was kind of upset, though, because right after that meeting with the principal, the only reason why the principal was involved was because she never responded to my email. So then my second step was to go above her, right?
Yeah.
So she emailed me.
She ain't like that.
She was like, in the future, if you wanna speak to me, please reach out to the guidance counselor. That would be your best point of contact.
Oh yeah.
I
She
was
ain't
like
that. Yeah, because when the principal got involved, obviously, that just now puts her on the principal's radar,
right?
And so that's just something that.
I asked her. I said, are you trying to set these kids up for success, or are you just trying to fail them? Like, there's a difference between, you being hard, but then you also, like, testing their minds, right?
Yeah.
But then it just felt like she was just against them.
Yeah.
And as I was having conversations with my daughter, she wasn't the only issue. It was other parents, too, that had issues with her and the way she does things. Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. Yeah, let me know how that go. I guess we'll maybe... I know it's kids out of school right now, so we'll probably
reconvene.
A couple
this
weeks
semester
from now.
will be over with in I think at the end of January or something like that.
Okay.
They got a couple more weeks or so.
Okay.
So they're actually about to take the SOLs.
Okay.
Yep. So I'll let you know how that goes.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think she's gonna pass. I don't think that it's gonna be a situation where she's not gonna pass the class, but when as a parent, it's a shocker when you're used to all A's, maybe a B so every now and again, to like all A's and then this D, C minus, C, grade hanging out there. And I'm like, I was turning your phone, turning your laptop, turning everything. We had checkpoint. Well, you know how we at the airport?
Oh yeah. Yep.
When she walked through that door, check your devices in.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I was not playing with her, but then it got to the point where I was checking all her stuff, and then the grade wasn't changing. I was like, hold up.
Yeah.
Now it's time for me to get involved.
Yeah. Stuff. How was Christmas? I know we just, we're a couple of days removed from Christmas. We got a new year coming here in a couple of days.
Yes.
How was that? Had the kids enjoyed themselves?
Yeah, it was a good time. We went to a game night on Sunday. One of my friends had game night, and we played that TikTok game, the yes/no game that you see online, where you put a piece of masking tape down, and then everybody stand on one side, and then it says yes or no at the top, and then it's almost like Simon Says.
Okay.
And if the person says yes, you stay on the yes side. If the person says no, you go to the no side. But that person can say yes, no, yes, 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 no, yes, no. And then you have to...
Wow. Okay. I haven't seen these on TikTok. Yeah.
It's on TikTok or whatever. And that I won a round.
You did?
I did really good. I won a gift card. I did a game too, and I gave away 3 gift cards. And then we played Black Memes, something called Black Memes or something like that.
Okay.
Played some spades.
Okay.
And that was pretty much it. Yeah, we had fun. And then the next morning...
The kids were involved too, or just like adults?
Yeah,
kids play too?
they were involved in everything but the spades.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And then that night, so what I did is I pre-wrapped pretty much all the gifts that week before, and I just kind of hid them away because I'm the parent that I don't put gifts out until Christmas Eve.
Okay.
Right? Some people put the gifts under the tree.
Yeah, my mom put them joints under, like...
My parents did, too.
It was two, like, it was different. Like, it was, like, the gifts that were amongst each other, like, you know, my mom got my dad a gift. You know, I got my mom a gift. Like, those gifts were under the tree early.
Okay.
But then, like, the Santa Claus gifts, those gifts, you know, obviously didn't come until Christmas Day.
See, nothing goes under my tree until Christmas morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So what we did was that night when we got back from my friend's house, I told my youngest two, I was like, oh, y'all should sleep in the bed with me, you know. And they did. And so I got up while I was trying to get them to go to sleep because we had just left game night. So you already know after a shower, they were hyped up like, ooh, yeah, you know. So I finally got them to go to sleep. While I got them to go to sleep, since my oldest, she almost grown. She's 3 years from being grown. She took all the gifts and put them under the tree until I was able to come down. And then when I got down there, I had pre-built, me and James, we had pre-built Jada's big gift. So what we did is we got her a computer desk, we bought her a laptop, we got her a bookshelf because she's a reader. She likes books. And so we got her a bookshelf. We organized her books in her bookshelf. We put the the computer desk in the bedroom. We set up all her LED lights, and we put the laptop in there and set up everything. And then on Christmas morning, she wasn't thinking about her room, right? So we go downstairs, we open up all the gifts or whatever, and she's down there, and I was like, dang, Jada, can you go upstairs? And I asked her to get something out of her room. So she didn't have a clue that any of this stuff was set up in her room because remember, she slept in my bed that night. And so she gets upstairs, and all you heard was screaming. And so I told Maya to run behind her and get the video. And so she's in there, like, looking around like, oh, my gosh. And then so we turned on the LED lights and stuff, and she was just so happy. Let me just say this. She has been in that room ever since. Yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up, man.
So, yeah, that was, it was fun seeing her, you know, enjoy that.
Yeah.
She loves that laptop.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's good. Yeah. That's crazy. Because your daughter's how old now? She's 8. Yeah, that's crazy. The technology and things that kids are getting at these ages now. So,
well, I was going to get her a desktop because she actually, another thing is my 8-year-old, she writes. So she writes in her notebook, and she'll have like pages and pages of like stories, right? And so the reason why we got the laptop was for her to be able to type her stories.
Stuff. Yeah. That's what's up.
And so I was going to get her a desktop, but, you know, sometimes she likes to come downstairs and she'll do her creative stuff while she's watching something. I don't know how she does it, but she'll sit there and she'll have, like, I guess it's considered white noise. She'll have the TV on, and she doesn't have a TV in her bedroom, so then she'll, like, write in her book, have her, like, she draws too. She's a really good, she actually won the bookmark what is it called, contest.
Okay.
So her school basically allowed all the students to submit like a drawing of a bookmark. She won that, and then that year her bookmark was distributed to all the students in the school.
That's dope. Yeah.
So she's a reader, she's a writer, and she draws very, very well.
That's what's up.
And so
those are good skills to have, especially at that age.
Yeah, exactly, because her writing's only going to get better.
Yeah.
And so that's why we got the laptop, so she could be able to type out her stories as opposed to writing them, because I felt like it was just paper everywhere. And she would, like, instead of just hitting backspace or delete, she would take the paper, ball it up, and then throw it. And I'll come downstairs, and it'll be like a pile of 15 papers because she wanted to start over.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no.
Now she got a computer. She can just rock with that.
Right. She can delete.
Yeah. That's what's
she
up.
want to start over.
Speaking of writing, I seen something over the holiday that I was like, that makes sense now. So I seen that. I can't remember where it was on, but they were like, because I was always teased, even now as an adult, my handwriting is terrible, right? Terrible. I can't front. I can't even act like whatever. My penmanship is terrible. But I read something.
What class he failed.
Okay, whatever. But what I read was they said that the people with the worst handwriting also are the smartest people. I read that. I'm gonna try to find that and show you and show the audience. But yeah, they said like, because you're so, I forget it, but it made sense. When I read, I'm like, that's me. And I am him. That's him, right? So they were like, because you're so, your mind is racing, you're like, have so many thoughts and ideas, your penmanship focusing on your handwriting being so correct or whatever. They were like, they ran a test over this amount of time, and they said that poor penmanship is a direct correlation to very smart, brilliant people. So I just want to say I'm smart and I'm brilliant. That's all.
Moving on.
Yeah, but
okay.
But yeah, my Christmas was cool too, man. We had a good time. We had it at our house. Everybody came by. Obviously, in my family, my kids are the only grandkids, so they got spoiled. Brooke and I both agreed that we were just gonna get 2 gifts for the kids each, and then let the grandparents, aunts, uncles, extended family, everybody kind of spoiled them. So, they got everything they wanted. Literally everything. I've been putting stuff together the last 3 or 4 days, playing games with them throughout the day. Like literally every day has been like that. And they want more. My son, he's at a point now, he's, athletic, wants to run around, play basketball, play chess. He got a chessboard. Like it's just so much stuff that they got. So I was just excited to see them, now kind of, I feel like both of them are entering a new level in their life as far as just like, likes and things that they want to do and all that. So that's pretty cool. And I also, shout out to Luce. We had, I think I mentioned it last week, we had Luce cater for our Christmas. That was pretty cool. We stopped by, picked up the food there. But I also made a prime rib. That was my first time doing that, which was actually pretty cool. That's Brooke's favorite, like meat, I guess you can say, favorite cut of meat is prime rib. I'm not really a big fan of it because it's like pretty on the rare side. Like you got to cook it where it's like the internal temperature is like around 110, 115, and it's still pretty rare. It's like medium rare. It's kind of like the perfect temperature for that, big piece of meat. And so we had like with Luce, we had like the salad course, it is chicken piccata. We had like this pasta with vodka noodles. So we had that part of it, but Brooke also wanted to have, and also a couple other people wanted to have like a steak or a red meat as well with it. And so I made a prime rib, which actually came out really, really good. Like, they loved it. Everybody in the house loved it. So it's something I feel like I can add on to, my itinerary as far as what I can make. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, the kids, they enjoyed themselves, man. We had a good Christmas. I feel like the last couple of Christmases, either myself, somebody's gotten sick. I know you mentioned that your 2 youngest are sick, so I'm glad that none of my children are sick. I know they were battling sicknesses right after Thanksgiving, so I'm glad that my family's kind of pretty healthy, I guess you can say right now, because this time of year is the time of year, you normally get the little viruses and flus and things of that nature. So, but yeah, Christmas was dope. I'm looking forward, like I said, to the new year. 2024 is crazy. This year seemed like it's flown by to me. Life seemed like it's flying by. I always feel like, especially in our industry, I think you probably can agree, Sophia, it's like, we do things on a month-to-month basis. You know what I mean? Like we look at we
look forward to the next month.
Yeah. So
ultimately,
each month is like, okay, hey, what do we have? What closings we have lined up? What activities do we have lined up? And so it's like, I know for me, it makes things go by faster because it's like, I'm not even looking at things on a day-to-day, to be honest with you, or even a week-to-week a lot of times. It's literally on a month-to-month, like, hey, what does my calendar look like this month? And so when I'm looking at that, it's like, hey, it's 12 different, things broken down versus 30 or versus, 365, whatever. So, but yeah, I'm appreciative, man. I've definitely been thinking about a lot a lot of things that God has blessed me and my family with this past year, and just goals that I have. So I'm excited. I'm excited for the future.
Nice.
Definitely.
Nice.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Like, I know we've been seeing some things go on in the mortgage and real estate world. One thing that I saw, or I mean, this is something that I think a lot of folks have been talking about. I know we kind of touched on it before on a previous episode. There was a pretty big lawsuit and settlement that happened where you had some sellers and some folks suing like these bigger major brokerages, real estate firms on cost, right? Yeah. And so that's kind of been a big topic amongst us in our world is like, what is a fair cost, right? When it comes to a real estate agent and their compensation, and then who actually should pay for those costs, right? That's something else that has been a hot topic. Customarily in our industry, real estate agents get paid typically on a national average, let's say 5 to 6%. I mean, I would say most cases is 6%, right? So, when you have a transaction, I
think it's 5 or 6% when your purchase price is maybe $1 million or lower.
Correct. Yeah. But locally,
anything
we see a
above
lot
that,
of yeah. Locally, a lot of times we see is 6%. Obviously, there may be situations where the 6% is not able to happen. So then there's an understanding between both sides of the transaction, and they kind of work through it. But in most cases, 6% is what it is, and it's 3% for the listing agent and 3% for the buyer's agent, right? Because you have an agent who's going to list the house for a seller, who's going to promote it, put it out there on the MLS, maybe have an open house for it, do certain things to market the property. So obviously that's how they get compensated is once the property sells, right? The seller pays for them.
Well, it's 6% given fully to the listing agent, and then the listing agent takes half of their commission and divvies it up to the buyer's agent.
Correct.
But the issue is that the sellers who are selling or selling the house, they were saying that they didn't understand that they were actually paying for the buyer's agent and they felt like it was unfair for them to have to pay both. But in my opinion, if you agree, this is just my opinion, but if you agree to pay the 6% for the transaction, right? Who are you to say that how could you control what portion that listing agent wants to give up to someone else? Yeah. When you've already agreed to paying the 6%.
See, that's true. That's one part of it. I agree with you 100% on that. The other part of it is they were feeling that, and that's where, why things are starting to kind of, there's conversations about what the future looks like when it comes to those commissions, because they also were feeling that 6% was too much, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can agree to that.
Yeah. So
if you feel like that's too much, then that's totally different than saying, well, I don't want to pay the buyer's agent.
Yeah, and so that's the thing. I mean, it was a little bit of both of that. It was like, hey, not just that, who gets the money. It was more also, I don't say more, but also like, well, that's a lot. So if they were to reduce that, then okay, how does that happen? Like, who gets what now, right? So if instead of the customary amount being 6%, what if it's now 4%, right? Then what does that look like? Is it 2% for both agents? Is it 3% for the listing agent, 1% for the buyer's agent? Like, I mean, it's that we're kind of going back to the drawing board when it comes to that type of breakdown. And so that's something that I know that has been a heavy conversation. I have a
but see, that's also that's true, right? But if you know one thing, right? If you are in this industry, let's say, you're an agent, that 6% is not the standard fee. There is no standard fee for real estate agents, right? 6% is, like he said, that's the average. So people throw out that figure, but you don't have to pay the 6%. So if you as the seller feel like 6% is too much, then you offer or you negotiate lower. But then you can't get mad at the listing agent if they don't want to take your house because you're paying them less.
But the thing about that, though, Fee, I agree with you, but it's also understanding and knowing, because most folks who are selling a house, they don't know that.
That's true.
That's what I'm saying. So you're really relying on the agent and them saying, hey, this is what it is, this is what it normally is. When you're selling a house, most most people who sell houses, they don't know who gets paid what, how it gets paid. I mean, there's people still that I help all the time that we help buy houses that think they gotta pay their buyer's aid. Like they don't know who's paying for anything. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's the thing. The person who's giving the information, as far as like, hey, this is what it is. This is what normally goes on. They're also the one that they're kind of controlling that conversation. You know what I'm saying? And so it's not like the seller is saying, hey, this is what it is. This is what it is.
You know
the
what
agent
I'm
is
curious
kind of,
of?
giving information. Hey, this is what it is. This is what normally is. So then when the information is presented to you like that, I mean, you're kind of in the not, how can I say it? You're kind of in the response part of it versus like, hey, this is how we're going to do things. You know what I mean? So
I'm curious to know what's going to happen with the VA loans. Because if you don't know, the VA doesn't allow for a veteran on the buy side to pay for an agent or broker fees. Or, there's a list. They're called, what are they called?
What do you mean?
The fees that you can't not allowable.
Yeah, non-allowable fees.
Non-allowable fees that the VA has, and a couple of those fees are the broker fees and the real estate commissions.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how that's going to work out, because I feel like some of these programs, like the VA, right? They wrote their guidelines based on what the norm is.
Correct, and that's why that's why it's a big conversation, because it's something that's been that way for a while, it seems like it's gonna be changing here soon. So
maybe, yeah.
Just I've seen people have different I guess resolutions, right? If they're say, hey, well, we should just add a different disclosure now where it's more transparent and the seller understands it, all parties sign it. It's something that is just a better understanding mechanism, right? Where it doesn't really change how the commissions are being divvied up, or what the normal is. It's just, hey, it just provides more understanding. I've seen that as a possible solution. I've seen people, like you said, like we just talked about, like where this commission structure is changed, period, where it's like on a case by case, every deal is different, every deal is negotiated. And I was even thinking like, hey, I'm always looking at marketing and strategic things or whatnot. Like if I was a real estate agent, and that is the situation, right? A lot of buyer's agents, because it's tough getting listings, right? Most agents that when they start off in the business, they're, representing more buyers than they are sellers, right?
And it costs more to be a listing agent too up front.
Correct.
That's the reason why a lot of people who start off in real estate, they typically start off on the buy side, because on the listing side, usually the agent is the person who's paying for the pictures to get done and be listed. They're paying for that listing to be put out there in the MLS. So, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes a whole lot of sense as to why agents typically start off as buyer's agents.
Yeah, because it's more so trying to find people who are looking to buy houses versus, it's easier. I say easier, but it's, you're probably going to come around more people who are trying to buy a house versus people who are trying to sell a house, right?
Exactly.
So that's kind of where most new buyers kind of start their, their journey is
they
that.
They both have their own, like, what do you call it? They both have their own good side to them.
Pros and cons.
Exactly. So as a listing agent, you spend more money, but you do less work. Correct. Right, so it's your listing. You front the money, but you get to sit and chill. You don't have to show properties and stuff like that. But then if you're a buyer's agent, you don't have much money that you're putting up front, but then you might go visit 20 houses.
So I'm eager to see like what that looks like, because what I was getting ready to say as far as like from a strategic standpoint. Let's say the commission structure is kind of on a case by case scenario, each situation, right? You may have like an agent out here who brands themselves like, hey, I only charge 1% every time, I do deals, right? So then you'll have more listing agents wanting to work with them and their buyers, you know what I'm saying? And, they may just say, hey, they'll take less, but they feel like they may do more volume with them, marketing themselves that way, or, vice versa. So, I mean, it's interesting. Like I said, I'm very eager to see if any, I feel like there's going to be, with that amount of money that had to be paid out for that settlement, I feel like there's going to have to be some sort of change. I'm just eager to see what direction it goes and what happens when it comes to it.
And I'm also eager to see, like, how does that affect the brokerage, right?
Yeah.
Because a part of how the agent is paid, right? A portion of that does go to the firm that they work for.
That's a
So,
fact.
for example, if I'm on the buy side and I only negotiate for me to receive 1% of the sales price,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm not even getting the full 1%.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, I
Mm-hmm.
might get 0.7% of
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
1%,
That's a good point.
or 0.8%, or
Mm-hmm.
even in some situations when the lead is coming from the brokerage, it may be only 0.6%, depending on, how new you are in the game. So how are these brokerages going to survive when they are buy side heavy, right?
Yeah.
And they're not getting the proper commissions because realistically, the buyer's agent does work the hardest, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they do.
Yeah.
But like I said a few minutes ago, they don't have to front money as much.
Correct.
So
yeah, and it's I'm also a little I'm really eager, like I said, for multiple facets. Obviously, with us being mortgage professionals, me being an investor as well. I build houses, as well, right? So for me, from the selling end, like there's a potential for me to now make a little bit more money, right? Because now when I sell a house, instead of having to pay two different agents' fees, and potentially my closing costs and potentially the buyer's closing costs, right? I may have less fees now. And so what that could also do is, with us now in the market we have with low inventory, that could also, basically give someone more incentive to sell their house, right? Because they can make even a little bit more money now, right? So that could also give an uptick, and help our inventory issue that we have right now. But yeah, I'm eager to see, man. I want to shout out an agent that I've been working with. We've done a couple deals this year, and then we have a couple things planned out. Shanique Moores, me and her have been working, and we have a builder that is looking to build 25 homes this upcoming year in 2024.
Cool.
Yeah, so 2 different neighborhoods, and I think he also has like 2 one-off homes as well.
Nice.
That he wants to put in place where she's the site agent, the listing agent for those developments, and then I'm actually the lender as well. So we're supposed to be meeting here very soon to kind of work out the particulars when it comes to that. So I'm excited about that. And like I said, with the way things may transition, being on that side of the transaction might be something that's very important, especially when it comes to the real estate aspect of it. So shout out to her, shout out to the builder as well. It's a Black builder, shout out to them.
That's cool.
So yeah, I'm excited to see what that looks like. And we got some good things brewing for 2024. A lot of change, man. Like we said in this industry, man, it's a whole bunch of change all the time, man.
And then speaking of builders, I was on social media, what we do in our pastime, right? And I saw, and I saw Mike Epps, he bought the block back.
Yeah, I saw that. That was pretty dope.
That is pretty cool. So if you don't follow Mike Epps, he basically bought every house that he was evicted from as a kid with his parents. He went back and bought the neighborhood. He actually lives in, he said that he actually lives in his childhood home. And then he, went and revamped the whole block. And now all these homes that he bought for, a couple $1,000 are now all worth at least $500,000.
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
He's been doing this for the past 30 years.
Yeah, that's pretty dope, man. That's pretty dope. I seen because Mike Epps, he's from Indiana. I mean, I know he's a big I've seen him a couple of times. Like, I'm a big sports guy, so like when the Indiana Pacers play, he'd be at the games.
Okay.
And so it's a show that I actually watch on HGTV called Good Bones. And it's like it's pretty cool, man. It's like a family who every person in the family for the most part, and it's 2 women that headed, which is actually pretty dope as well. It's a mother and a daughter combo, but she has like brothers and like, other people in their family, and they have a construction business where they build houses, right? And so they do it in Indianapolis. So I've noticed like a lot of the different things that they've done there. It's a lot of good, work that she does. And I've seen some of the things that Mike Epps did in the neighborhood, like you said, that he grew up in. So I think that's pretty dope, man.
That is.
Yeah, shout out to him. Shout out to Indianapolis, man. That's what's up.
That's probably like negative 10 degrees right now there.
Yeah, it's probably
I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah, it's probably pretty cold.
Yeah, I'm so glad that when I woke up this morning and went to my car, I was like, "Who was kind of cold out here?" And my windows was all frosty,
Yeah.
and I
Mine was
didn't
too.
leave the house until like 8.
Hmm.
So I was like, "Oh my goodness!" So now thinking about like what the weather could potentially be like right now out there,
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm glad I don't live there.
Yeah, it's a different type of cold, man.
It sure is. I can't
Yeah.
wait to move back to Florida, boy.
Yeah. I feel you. I feel you.
Because this weather is not it.
Yeah. Well, Virginia's not too bad. I mean, it's not too
No,
bad.
it's not. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it that. It is
Yeah.
not that bad here.
Yeah.
We actually got decent weather until
Yeah.
we get that year that it snows. Then I
Yeah.
absolutely hated that year. But the last 2, it hasn't really snowed.
Nah.
I think we have
some
flurries.
Yeah, some
Yeah,
flurries
like
last
once
year.
or twice.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah, as far as like
when I
like
say
sticking on the
flurries, it was
ground.
nothing.
Yeah. It was something. Yeah.
It was like mist. Like,
Yeah.
you go outside and it rains and it's
Yeah.
not really raining. It's just like misty.
Yeah.
That's how the snow was.
Yeah. I'm excited. Shoot, I was talking to the fellas. What was it? Was it yesterday or the day before yesterday? We were talking about playing golf on New Year's Day on Monday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I think the weather. I don't even look. I think it's supposed to be like in the mid-50s on Monday. So we were talking about going out there and playing some golf. First day, first session, I guess you could say, of the year.
Okay.
So that's
Right,
why I said that
right
tells
on
you
the
about.
first.
Yeah, that's what tells you like the weather is. I mean, it's decent enough where you can go out and play.
Yeah.
Still during the middle of the winter.
Are y'all
So,
gonna go like at the top of the day where it's
Yeah,
a
we
little bit
gotta-
warmer?
Our tea time's is at 11.
Okay, yeah, that makes
yeah.
sense.
So we'll play.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be able to play.
Because if you go too early, your
Oh, yeah.
early mornings is for the summertime,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then right now you want to go when it's a little,
midday. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
Yeah, I might even try to cook something on the grill that day. Matter of fact, when I come home, I think about
Okay,
it. Yeah,
nice.
I think last year I made this nice brisket for New Year's. So this year I may try to do something, something else. I don't know. I got to think about it. I just kind of thought about it just now. I was like, what can I make? But yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. Last night I made some jerk turkey wings.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was pretty good. But I haven't really tried anything new in a minute. What you need to do is just go to the grocery store and just look at all the meat and be like, what haven't I made before? And then,
Yeah, I try to what I normally do is because I do predominantly most of my grilling during the summertime, springtime. I normally try to test things out during the wintertime, down this time of the year.
Okay,
You know what I
good.
mean? So I can kind of perfect it. So once the summer comes around, I can roll with it. You know what I mean? If I don't like it during the wintertime, man, it's okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whatever, type of thing. But during the summertime is when I normally wintertime is when I try to test things out so I can know exactly what my go-tos are during the summer. So,
Yeah. See, I'm not that person. I don't grill as much though either.
Mhm.
So I typically cook indoors, but and I do try a lot of different things that I've never done before, but I don't usually if it's not just absolutely mind blowing, it may be a while before I make it again. Not
Gotcha.
saying that it wasn't good, because typically it is good. It's just it's all about the process and what it takes to make it.
What did you as far as your cooking goes, where did you learn how to cook? Is it was your mother or your father, or was it something that you just acquired, you just did it over time? What do you feel? Because
I think
I
it was
feel
a
like
little
you
bit
talk
of
about cooking, we
everything.
talk, and you seem like you be getting down a little bit. So where do you feel like you attribute that to?
So I think it's a lot. It's a lot of different things. So when I was younger, my dad cooked a lot, and so I used to be in the kitchen with him. But those are more African dishes. He didn't make American food.
Okay.
So that's kind of how I learned to make that food.
Yeah, just being in the kitchen, knowing your way around.
Just being in the kitchen, and
yeah.
the only American food that he would really make would be spaghetti, and even then it was with berbere, so it was spicy. It was the East African spices in it, right? So it tastes a little different. He would even put cut up beef in it as opposed to hamburger meat, right?
Yeah.
So then outside of that, he did grill. So all my cousins, everybody who graduated from high school, when we had our open houses, he would do the barbecue for the open houses. So we would have injera, we would have the whole platter of food, and then some ribs.
Okay.
It was weird, but it worked.
It worked,
right?
though. Yeah.
And then after that, let me see. So after growing up, he was the one who taught me how to grill, because my mom never grilled. And then when I went to college, I was eating ramen noodles all the time. Like, I learned in college how to gourmet some noodles, okay? I would put shrimp in it, sausage, egg. We was, all the stuff that's on social media now with the ramen.
Yeah.
That is not new. I was doing that in college, trying to survive, okay?
Yeah.
And so back then, I would call my mom, and I would be like, "Hey, how do you do this?" And so she would tell me how to do it over the phone.
Okay.
And then I would, make the dishes. And then it got to the point where I remember one time, my friend Shanye, we actually just talked about this not long ago.
Okay.
So she came to my dad's house and she was like, "What you cooking?" I was like, "I want to learn how to make Alfredo," right?
Classic.
Yeah, classic, right?
Yeah.
So I took the chicken because I was like, how the hell do you get chicken soft without frying it, right? Because I didn't know any better. I didn't know,
Okay.
I guess at that time I wasn't thinking to bake it, right? So I took the chicken and I put the chicken in some water and attempted to boil chicken.
What?
And my friend walked in the house and she was like, "Girl, what the hell are you doing?" And she could cook even at that young age.
Yeah.
And so she looked at me and was like, and I remember I looked at her and I was like, this ain't how you do it. And I took the chicken out, threw that shit away, and then we left the house and I was like, fuck it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And it's funny because she now is like she's a caterer. She caters food or whatever.
She still gets down there.
Yeah,
Okay, that's what's up.
She makes a lot of different dishes, so she posts her food. And so just not that long ago, I was like, "Girl, you remember when I boiled that chicken?"
That's
and
funny.
she was like, "That was some time ago."
Yeah.
But
you ain't boiling chicken no more, are you?
No,
Okay.
no.
Cool. That's what's up, though.
Nah.
That's what's up.
I can cook now, but boy, let me tell you, it was a rough start.
No growing pains.
Yes. And then, let me see. After that, learned how to make all the other dishes from like different recipes and stuff like that. But even with the recipes, like it wasn't like I measured out everything. They'll say a teaspoon. The spirits would tell me like what a teaspoon was. I would just like sprinkle it in there,
Yeah.
And then right before my dad passed, he taught me how to make more a bigger variety of the African dishes. So
Okay.
yeah.
That's what's up. I was just curious.
Yep. So it took time, but we here.
That's good. So what you got? I know we talked about a couple more days to the new year. What you got going on? Do you have anything going for the new year? Do you have any goals? Any things you're looking forward to in 2024 at all, or what?
Ooh, I'm looking for business to grow a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah, this year was kind of slow on the real estate side because I think just up until like a week ago, rates had not been this low since May?
Shoot, longer than that.
Yeah, for a while.
Yeah.
Majority of this year.
Yeah.
So, with the rates being higher, inventory being low, it just wasn't where it was previously.
Yeah.
And so kind of just rebuilding that business and getting back into being busy again. Because when you take some time and you ain't as busy, you get real comfortable not being busy.
Yeah.
So just making sure that I get busy again and get comfortable with being busy again.
There you go.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But outside of that, my daughter's birthday is next Friday, so I'm excited about that.
That's be dope.
Yes, I got her gifts already. She's like, it's funny because I wrapped it and I put it on the dining room table. I was like, "Here's your gift," and she was like, "You just gonna wrap the gift and then just set it on the table?" I was like, "Yeah, you don't know what it is. You don't have a clue."
Yeah.
So
shout out to you and her then, because I know I told you, I might have mentioned this before on the podcast, but I know my birthday was first week of December, so I know growing up, a lot of times because my birthday was so close to Christmas, like that joint, I didn't really get much for Christmas. For my birthday, it was more like I got a cake, and it was normally like I can maybe have my friends stay over, and it was just like my gift I got was because I was so close to Christmas. It wasn't like my parents was gonna give me a gift on my birthday or gifts on my birthday, and then like get gifts like 2-3 weeks later.
Now, I must say, like, I don't go all out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not finna go and, like,
I know.
Do
but
she's
still getting something, though.
But yeah, she's still gonna get something. Yeah. That's her day.
Yeah,
I wouldn't do that to, my other two, even though, because their birthdays are in, July and February. Like, that's not fair.
True.
So, just it ain't her fault that she was born January.
Sure ain't. Sure ain't. I think I know who fault it is. Somebody else knows.
Right. So yeah, I got her something.
That's what's up.
She got 2 gifts actually.
That's what's up.
Yeah. And I was also thinking about taking her to the Sweet Spot. They got these igloos.
Yeah.
That you could rent out for up to 8 people.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about getting that for her and then letting her invite her friends because it's only like $80 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then her friends can buy their own ice cream, but
I'll
get the spot. But they didn't have anything available.
Gotcha.
They only had daytime time slots left. So and I had been looking at that for probably about 2 weeks now. So apparently that's very popular. Yeah. So. Yeah. And then I told her, I was like, well, maybe we could do it on Saturday or Sunday, but we'll see. I mean, she really, she told me she was like, she just wants some in Jeddah and she want to chill. So I'm like, cool. And because next year she'll be 16.
Yeah.
And so that'll be like her big sweet 16 type of party. So we'll probably go out and have like a little party then. I might rent a space or get a space or do something like that for her so she can have like a sweet 16. Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah. And she's driving. Let me tell y'all, this is the scariest part of my life, being in the car with her, boy. I'll tell you.
I bet.
So where I live, we have a Walgreens close to my house. Well, everybody probably got a Walgreens or a Rite Aid or something close to their house. So to get to this particular pharmacy, you have to get on the railroad. So, like I said, my other 2 kids have been sick since Wednesday. And so I had to stop and get some medicine because I had pretty much ran out or whatever. Especially when you have 2 kids sick. So she was like, well, can I drive, home? And I let her drive home. Lord have on the real street. That was the scariest time of my life. It's like, when you drive, right? Experienced drivers, when you turn, you kind of let the wheel kind of do its thing and shift back. Well, she tries to turn and then turn the wheel back. And I was like, girl, if you hit this curb... Not only will my rib be bent, but your ass gonna be bent too.
Yeah, that comes with time, having some feel when you drive.
Oh,
you know
my
what I mean?
goodness. It's so scary. But we got a year to get it together because when she turns 16 in 3 months or something like that, I think in Virginia, she getting that license and she getting that car and she gonna be driving herself because I'm so tired of driving her places.
Yeah.
Especially for practice and stuff. That's the worst part is when you have a kid that's in a high school sport.
Yeah.
And games are not local sometimes. They're like, I remember having to go to Suffolk and it was like the far part of Suffolk, an hour away.
Yeah.
With traffic going to a game at 5-6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Like that's ridiculous.
It's tough. Yeah.
With 2 other little kids.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah. I remember I drove early. I remember in high school I drove early. I was actually like the trusted person that I drove a lot of people. Like I had like growing, like, the neighborhood I grew up in, shout out College Park. Like I was like the College Park taxi. Like I literally had people I would take to school every single morning.
Me too.
I had football players that on the football team with me that was older than me and I was driving them to school.
Did you drive before you turned 16?
Nah. Well, I mean, not to school. My parents was about the books. Like, I mean, as far as like, once I had my, like you said, 16 and 3 months, I started driving them. But I got, my mom, my dad taught me how to drive. And so I'll take this back. Yes and no. I didn't drive with anybody in my car until I was 16 and 3 months. Like my mom, we had a grocery store in the front of the neighborhood. Farmer Jack and ended up being a Food Lion. And so like on a Sunday where ain't nobody on the road, my mom's like, hey, Brian, I need some more eggs and milk. She would let me drive up there and go do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what I would do is I used to, people who know College Park and where I used to live at, the grocery store, you go down College Park Boulevard, you turn a light on, turn a left, I think it's on Auburn Drive, and the shopping center's right there. What I used to do is there's a basketball court, Level Green basketball court that everybody used to hang out at. I would get in the car, I would drive all the way to the basketball court in my mom's red Lexus, turn the music up really, really loud, And I'm like, hey, what up? And so I would take this long way, like this unnecessary route, just so people could see me in my mom's red Lexus. And then I would go to the grocery store. My mom would always be like, Bryan, why it take you so long? I'm like, Mom, I couldn't find the 2% milk. I was looking for it, and the line was long. There's an old lady in front of me. She took for a long. I was lying my tail off, man, just so I could do that route. So one time, I'm gonna say this one thing real quick. And then so I remember what ended up getting me caught though was, and I know we got to wrap up here too because the time is going on. But what happened was I remember I used to drive, past the basketball court and turn the music up. Back then this was the 103 Jams was like the local radio station everybody used to listen to or whatever.
I think it still is.
It might be,
okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I ain't listened to radio in God knows how long.
That's rich
12, 13 years, whatever. But anyway, I would turn the radio up. So I remember my mom that one of the times I did that, the very next day she went to work. My mom used to have the gospel music playing in the morning time, right? She'd take me to school. So the next morning she was taking me to school and I had blew her speaker out. So she was like, she went to turn the gospel music on the board. It said, it was made like this noise. And she was looking, she's like, what happened? And it kind of came to her like, I was the last person to drive the car. She was like, Bryan, did you like turn the music up loud or something like that? I'm like, I don't know, Ma. I don't know. Yeah, I got in trouble for that.
That's funny.
Go ahead. I know you about to say something.
No, I was going to say that actually happened to me. So one time my mom sent me to the store to go get something as well, or my dad. I can't remember which one. And I had some friends who was like, oh, yeah, we outside, at this place.
Yep.
So where the grocery store was and where they lived like right past the grocery store. Okay. So technically I still had to like go in that direction, right? So it wasn't like
mine was completely, literally west to east.
Oh yeah, no. So I had to go in that direction.
Yeah.
So I get there, I'm chilling. I was probably there for 10 minutes tops, right?
Yeah.
I just wanted to, drive, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So tell me why y'all I got a flat tire coming back. So I was past the grocery store. So I was like, man, I gotta make it to at least the area where the grocery store is at. So I rode on the
making it worse.
Yes, on the metal, the rotor.
Yeah.
I rode on the rotor for probably like a mile.
Oh gosh.
Trying to get closer to the grocery store.
Oh gosh.
So then my dad, he called me and was like, what's going on? I was like, I got a flat tire. He was like, you got a flat? So he came and he looked at the wheel. He was like, well, did you drive on it? I was like, no.
Where did you make it up to like with the grocery store? So it was like within realm of like possibility, like that's where it happened at? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then he was like, okay. So he came, he put the spare tire on, it kind of was wonky or whatever. You could feel because I had rode the rotor for real. So he had to change all that out, but he at least got the car from where it was at to the house.
Yeah.
So what I didn't know, though, was my dad back in the day on the cars, you could reset the trip miles.
Yeah, the odometer.
The trip.
Yeah.
Just the trip, not the odometer, but the trip.
I mean, it's on the odometer. I know
yeah. And so he set it to 0 before I left. And so it showed that I had drove like 4 miles, but the store was only a mile away, if that, right? So he looked, he was like, you went more than to the store, and he pointed it out to me.
Oh, man. Dang.
And I was like...
that darn technology. Dang. Even back then, that's crazy.
I was like, dang, I'm caught.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And so after that, I learned how to reset the odometer myself. Man. So when I was on my way back, like in the future, what happened was I started resetting my trips myself.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I didn't know he was tracking me.
Yeah. That's crazy. Pops was on you. That's
he was.
Crazy.
He was not playing.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't even know the car could do that. Like, I've never seen him do that before.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It is. But yeah, that's all I got going. What you got coming up?
Shoot, nothing for real. Other than like I mentioned, like I said, New Year's is coming up. I'm not gonna really do much on New Year's. Just kind of hang out at the house. My son starts basketball next week.
Okay.
Weekend, I should say. So I'm looking forward to that. He's been putting in the work, as far as getting ready for it. So I'm excited for him. And then that's it. Like I said, I got some projects going on, houses I'm building. So, a
Nice.
couple of them be done in the first quarter of the year. So just, looking to see, where the market is at that time. I got one that's for sale now. So I'm hoping to get that one sold here very soon.
Nice.
But yeah, that's it. Yep.
Well, that's the end of our show.
Yeah, that's it. Like Sophia always says, you can follow us on social media. I'm Bryan, BRYAN _ Royster.
And I'm SKB _ mortgage.
Cool.
All right. Well, we will see you guys next week.
See you next week.